For decades, this has been the heavyweight championship of sportswear. In one corner, you've got the titan of innovation, Nike, and in the other, the absolute icon of heritage, Adidas. It's a rivalry that has defined an entire industry, and believe me, the battlefield is changing faster than ever.
So, let's just get right to it. Who are you backing, the swoosh or the three stripes? Because this isn't just about cool sneakers or celebrity endorsements anymore. The fight has moved into a whole new arena, and we're going to break down exactly who has the edge right now.
You see, the game has totally changed. The old way of doing things, just selling through big retail stores, has been completely turned on its head. And that's created a brand new battlefield for these two giants. So what was the catalyst? Well, you guessed it, the global pandemic. When physical stores shut down, online shopping just exploded. And this forced brands to hit the accelerator on their direct-to-consumer, or DTC, strategies. Suddenly, it was all about selling straight to you through their own websites and apps, because that's where the really high profit margins are.
Okay, so in this explainer, we're breaking this whole rivalry down across three key battlefields. First, we're going to look at their business playbooks in this new DTC world. Then, we'll dive into the powerful stories they're selling. And finally, we'll check out their ethical scorecards to see who, if anyone, really comes out on top.
All right, first up, the business playbook. How are Nike and Adidas actually adapting their game to win your business directly online?
And you know what's fascinating? They've taken completely different paths. Nike went for this really radical all-in approach. They started pulling their products from major partners like Amazon and Foot Locker because they wanted total control over the customer experience. Adidas is also pushing hard for direct sales. They want it to be 50% of their business by 2025, but they're kind of hedging their bets, keeping those key relationships with retail partners. Two very different ways to play the game.
So, the big question is, how are those strategies actually playing out? Well, let's look at the data. We've got an industry report here from Omnilytics that gives us a direct side-by-side comparison of their performance on their own US websites. You've got Nike on the left and Adidas on the right.
Okay, the key number to watch here is the sellout rate. That's basically the percentage of stuff they actually sold. And check this out. While Nike is obviously the bigger company, its rate actually dropped by 3%, partly because of some supply chain headaches. Meanwhile, Adidas saw its rate jump by 5%. So what's the takeaway? While Nike sells more stuff overall, Adidas has actually been more efficient lately at moving its products directly to people like you and me.
But let's be real, this fight is about way more than just numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about the narrative. Because these brands aren't just selling you shoes and t-shirts, they're selling you an identity.
I mean, come on. 3 simple words that built an entire empire. Nike's story is one of the most powerful in marketing history. It's not a suggestion, right? It's a command. It's a challenge. And this really gets to the core difference in their stories. Nike sells the idea of the unstoppable you, right? It's a future powered by elite performance. Think Jordan. Think Serena. Adidas, on the other hand, sells your luck, your legend. It's rooted in cultural authenticity, in street style, defined by huge collaborations with artists like Pharrell and, for years, the massively influential Yeezy line. So how exactly does a brand like Nike build such a powerful story? Well, we can actually map it out using this cool marketing tool called the Brand Identity Prism. It basically breaks down a brand's DNA into 6 key parts. So here's what it looks like. Think of it this way. The top part is what the brand projects outward, and the bottom is how you, the consumer, internalize it. The left side is all the external stuff you can see and feel. The products, the ads. The right side is the internal stuff, the brand's culture and the self-image it gives you. And when you apply this to Nike, it's a masterclass in consistency. The culture is all about that solo willpower. The personality is modern, engaged, even a little combative. This makes you, the customer, feel like a cool, athletic winner. And the relationship it builds inspires you to fight past your own limits. But if we were to do this for Adidas, we'd see a totally different picture. Their culture isn't solo willpower. It's about collaboration and community. Their personality is less combative, more authentic and grounded. It gives customers a self-image of being culturally connected, and the relationship is built on co-creation, not just inspiration. But look, a great story isn't enough anymore, not by a long shot. Consumers want to know if a brand's actions actually live up to their inspiring words. And this brings us to our third and final battlefield, the ethical scorecard.
And this is where things get really complex. A quick look shows there's no clean winner here. Adidas gets points for signing the Bangladesh Safety Accord, which Nike hasn't. But then, Nike is at least partially paying a living wage, while Adidas has only made a public commitment. Both have made some positive moves on forced labor, but then both have also been accused of greenwashing, making misleading claims about how eco-friendly they are. It really is a mixed bag for both. So one way to try and cut through the noise is to look at objective measures. The Fashion Transparency Index is a big one. Now, it's important to note it doesn't rate a brand as good or bad. It just scores how much they're willing to publicly disclose about their supply chains and how they do business. In the 2023 index, Nike scored in the 41 to 50% range. But here's the concerning part. That was actually a drop from its score in previous years, which signals a step backward in transparency.
Adidas, by contrast, scored higher, landing in the 51 to 60% range, and they've held that score steady. So if you're going purely by this index, Adidas is the more transparent company right now.
But, and this is a huge but, transparency isn't the whole story. The ethical watchdog group Good On You recently downgraded Adidas's overall rating all the way to not good enough. And why? Because of recent human rights violations, including cases of wage theft in Cambodia. So the crucial point is, this is a messy, complicated, and constantly shifting picture for both brands. So after breaking down the business, the story, and the ethics, who really wins this whole thing? Well, the truth is, it depends entirely on how you keep score.
So here's the final verdict. In the marketplace, Adidas is showing stronger recent growth, but you just can't argue with Nike's massive scale. In the battle for the mind, Nike is the undisputed master of aspiration and hype. Adidas, though, wins on cultural collaboration and heritage. And for the conscience, it's arguably a tie, with both of these giants facing serious, ongoing ethical questions.
Which brings us right back to you. When you choose between the swoosh and the stripes, what's your deciding factor? Is it the raw performance data, the power of their story, or the weight of their ethical record? The winner, ultimately, really just depends on what you value most.